Welcome. Today we will be reading Lesson 225 in the workbook, and from the text, Chapter 19, Section 4b, Roman numeral 1, The Attraction of Pain, paragraphs 9 through 17. And now for Lesson 225. God is my Father, and his Son loves him. Father, I must return your love for me. For giving and receiving are the same. And you have given all your love to me. I must return it, for I want it mine in full awareness, blazing in my mind and keeping it within its kindly light, inviolate, beloved, with fear behind and only peace ahead. How still the way your loving Son is led along to you. Brother, we find that stillness now. The way is open. Now we follow it in peace together. You have reached your hand to me, and I will never leave you. We are one, and it is but this oneness that we seek. As we accomplish these few final steps, which end a journey that was not begun. In realizing the holiness of the other, does ideas of guilt fall away, and one finds a serenity and quietness in the moment. The pathway is cleared, and one moves in joy together. The request to merge without further separation has been heard and answered. For all false beliefs have been seen through and released, and what remains is but the call for truth. And in this recognition of the beloved, does one find everything one ever desired. In the closing steps of this journey that never started, is reality seen at last. And in one's rising gratitude is one's source revealed at last. And now for our text reading for today, from chapter 19, section 4b, Roman numeral 1, The Attraction of Pain, paragraphs 9 through 17. Your little part is but to give the Holy Spirit the whole idea of sacrifice, and to accept the peace he gives instead, without the limits that would hold its extension back, and so would limit your awareness of it. For what he gives must be extended if you would have its limitless power, and use it for the Son of God's release. It is not this you would be rid of, and having it you cannot limit it. If peace is homeless, so are you and so am I. And he who is our home is homeless with us. Is this your wish? Would you forever be a wanderer in search of peace? Would you invest your hope of peace and happiness in what must fail? Faith in the eternal is always justified, for the eternal is forever kind, infinite in its patience, and wholly loving. It will accept you wholly and give you peace. Yet it can unite only with what already is at peace in you, immortal as itself. The body can bring you neither peace nor turmoil, neither joy nor pain. It is a means and not an end. It has no purpose of itself, but only what is given to it. The body will seem to be whatever is the means for reaching the goal that you assign to it. Only the mind can set a purpose, and only the mind can see the means for its accomplishment and justify its use. Peace and guilt are both conditions of the mind to be attained. And these conditions are the home of the emotion that calls them forth, and therefore is compatible with them. But think you which it is that is compatible with you. Here is your choice, and it is free. But all that lies in it will come with it, and what you think you are can never be apart from it. The body is the great seeming betrayer of faith. In it lies disillusionment and the seeds of faithlessness, but only if you ask of it what it cannot give. Can your mistake be reasonable grounds for depression and disillusionment, and for retaliative attack on what you think has failed you? Use not your error as the justification for your faithlessness. You have not sinned, but you have been mistaken in what is faithful. And the correction of your mistake will give you grounds for faith. It is impossible to seek for pleasure through the body and not find pain. It is essential that this relationship be understood, for it is one the ego sees as proof of sin. It is not really punitive at all. It is but the inevitable result of equating yourself with the body, which is the invitation to pain. For it invites fear to enter and become your purpose. The attraction of guilt must enter with it, and whatever fear directs the body to do, it is therefore painful. It will share the pain of all illusions, and the illusion of pleasure will be the same as pain. Is not this inevitable? Under fear's orders, the body will pursue guilt, serving its master, whose attraction to guilt maintains the whole illusion of its existence. This, then, is the attraction of pain. Ruled by this perception, the body becomes the servant of pain, seeking it dutifully and obeying the idea that pain is pleasure. It is this idea that underlies all of the ego's heavy investment in the body. And it is this insane relationship that it keeps hidden and yet feeds upon. To you, it teaches that the body's pleasure is happiness, yet to itself it whispers, it is death. Why should the body be anything to you? Certainly what it is made of is not precious. And just as certainly it has no feeling. It transmits to you the feelings that you want. Like any communication medium, the body receives and sends the messages that it is given. It has no feeling for them. All of the feeling with which they are invested is given by the sender and the receiver. The ego and the Holy Spirit both recognize this. And both also recognize that here the sender and receiver are the same. The Holy Spirit tells you this with joy. The ego hides it, for it would keep you unaware of it. Who would send messages of hatred and attack if he but understood he sends them to himself? Who would accuse, make guilty, and condemn himself? The ego's messages are always sent away from you, in the belief that for your message of attack and guilt will someone other than yourself suffer. And even if you suffer, yet someone else will suffer more. The great deceiver recognizes that this is not so, but as the enemy of peace, it urges you to send out all your messages of hate and free yourself. And to convince you this is possible, it bids the body search for pain in attack upon another, calling it pleasure and offering it to you as freedom from attack. Hear not its madness, and believe not the impossible is true. Forget not that the ego has dedicated the body to the goal of sin, and places in it all its faith that this can be accomplished. Its sad disciples chant the body's praise continually in solemn celebration of the ego's rule. Not one but must believe that yielding to the attraction of guilt is the escape from pain. Not one but must regard the body as himself, without which he would die, and yet within which is his death equally inevitable. It is not given to the ego's disciples to realize that they have dedicated themselves to death. Freedom is offered them, but they have not accepted it, and what is offered must also be received to be truly given. For the Holy Spirit, too, is a communication medium, receiving from the Father and offering his messages unto the Son. Like the ego, the Holy Spirit is both the sender and the receiver. For what is sent through him returns to him, seeking itself along the way, and finding what it seeks. So does the ego find the death it seeks, returning it to you. We learn in this section that the body is truly a means and not an end. The body can only serve the purpose that is set for it, and it is the mind that sets its purpose. The mind decides how the goal is to be achieved and why the goal is important. And the experience of peace or guilt result from the goals that are chosen. Asking the body to do what it is incapable of will only lead to guilt. The ego seeks to find happiness in pleasure and will attack the body when pain arises instead. For it is impossible not to find pain when seeking pleasure in the body. The ego's intent to see itself as a body is an invitation to pain. And in identifying oneself with what is impermanent is but to call for death. Yet the Holy Spirit uses the body for merely receiving and sending messages of truth, which result in only peace.